Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Do me a favor, hit the like button, share, subscribe, turn up your notifications so you're notified when we go live. All right, so on today's show, we have a very interesting story, the Yola harvest. The Yola harvest, Governor Fintiri defects to APC. I'm sure that is nothing new to you, but let's see what they're talking about. The umbrella is torn in Adamawa. Vice President Shettima lands in Yola to welcome Governor Fintiri into the APC fold. The political landscape of the Northeast has shifted dramatically today. Vice President Kashim Shettima arrived in Yola this afternoon for the formal reception of Governor Ahmadu Fintiri into the All Progressive Congress. Fintiri, formerly a powerhouse of the PDP, was received by a high-powered delegation. This defection marks a massive harvest for the ruling party, effectively hollowing out the opposition stronghold in Adamawa. We're seeing a pattern where the PDP's big fish are all swimming into the APC ocean. Is this the final nail in the coffin for the opposition ahead of 2027? Or is the APC becoming too large for its own good? We're going to get into this sharp edge right now. Ladies and gentlemen, do me a favor, hit the like button, share, subscribe, turn up your notifications so you're notified when we go live. We'll be right back. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Without any further ado, High Chief Oladimeji Abitogun. Sir, what I also saw in the news is that I think I saw in the news somewhere, what's her name? Skipping my mind now. Her name, the young lady that has been going through crisis at the senator.
Natasha
Akpoti. Yes, Natasha Akpoti has also she pivoted to the weakest side faction.
Yes.
So maybe you can speak to that one as well. But how are you doing, sir? Welcome back.
Great. I'm doing well, and
All right.
good to be back. And our sincere appreciation to our viewing audience all over the world, particularly in places like Nigeria, South Africa, Australia, and the United States of America here. We appreciate you. Now, to the question of whether the umbrella, that is the PDP emblem, has been effectively turned and probably broken and then cast completely into the abyss in a place like Adamawa, where Governor Ahmadu Fintiri seems to have served the notice of being completely done with the legacy party, the PDP party, that sadly has now been reduced to the shadow of its old self, a party that once promised, that once whose official once bragged that would hold the reins of leadership in Nigeria for about 60 years. It was only able to hold sway for 16 years before it was strongly challenged by the current ruling administration, the current ruling political party in Nigeria, All Progressives Congress, APC. One thing comes to mind: the question of godfatherism would now be put to test, because all the while everybody thought that the former vice president of Nigeria, who also is the Waziri of Adamawa, the well-respected Mr. Atiku Abubakar, was thought to be the man behind the stunts, some of the exploits that were accomplished by PDP of old in Adamawa State. Don't forget, in 1999, Atiku Abubakar was elected the governor of that state. Shortly thereafter, he was picked as the running mate to the then presidential candidate of People's Democratic Party, PDP, in the person of Chief Olusegun Obasanjo. And they both operated together until the center could not hold between the two of them. Subsequently, President Olusegun Obasanjo would characterize Atiku Abubakar as somewhat unworthy of trust and probably corrupt. But Atiku Abubakar was always pushing back, saying Olusegun Obasanjo was only pained by the fact that he led a formidable resistance to an illegitimate, unconstitutional vision of running a third term in office. Since then, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar is not on record to have lost any serious contest whenever it comes to whether he has consistently or repeatedly backed in that state. So if at this point, Ahmadu Fintiri, who actually had it so rough and tough to win that ticket. Remember, initially, an independent National Electoral Commission, INEC official, was actually exposed to have attempted rigging the election then for somebody who would have emerged as the first elected female governorship candidate in Nigeria. And that matter was supposed to have come before the law courts as a major electoral violation situation. But till today, we do not know the head or the tail of that litigation, if it was actually ever brought to the law court, if anybody went down, particularly the INEC official who was accused of blatantly attempting to rig the election for the sitting party at the center. Now, the same Ahmadu Fintiri, who had the nation almost dichotomized because of his vision, because of the justiciable questions dogging that attempt at rigging him out, has now left the comfortable stable of the People's Democratic Party to join the people that really were coming after him, assailing him without mercy, wanting him to lose that mandate. Today, he has willingly surrendered the reign to the ruling political party. Now, we were also mentioning the fact of who caused the shot between Wike, the faction of the PDP, and the other faction that held its convention, or whatever it was called, maybe Congress or Convention at Ibadan, with the active support of Governor Seyi Makinde and others. Maybe today the rank of the opposition PDP has been badly decimated. It's been so battered that maybe they have 1.5 or maybe 2 governors to sit. I mean, still sitting. Thank God the governor of Bauchi came out the other day to say that no, everything that has been speculated about him leaving the opposition People's Democratic Party may not be completely true. Nobody knows if any of these things is true or false until politicians let out their tricks out of the bag. You will never know what magic and trick, that is magic trick or politriction, the politicians that can trick people to no end. You never know what they are capable of doing. However, whether Bala Usman or it is Ahmadu Fintiri or any other person, one thing that is being put to test here, like we have also witnessed in the case of Kano State, where former defense minister, 2-time governor of the state, Kwakwanso, was betrayed by a political surrogate who has now defected also to APC, a party that once traumatized them, that once really gave them the equivalent of what you would call political migraine. He too has defected, abandoning his godfather, Kwakwanso, to join APC. So you will ask, Kwakwanso hosted some elements like Peter Obi, like Sheyi Makinde, and so on and so forth this past weekend. The culmination of the Eid al-Fitr celebration, the end of Ramadan in Nigeria, it was a sight to behold. People still massed around his residence, the residence of Kwakwanso, thus making it to look like, oh, these people still have some. So why are you talking of Fintiri jumping the boat, leaving abandoning PDP in Adamawa State? Or you talking of the governor, the sitting governor of Kano State, who has also decided to play the betrayal card on his godfather Kwakwanso? When push comes to shove, what Nigerians want to see is that these defections that we have been witnessing, could they be said to be authentic? Could they be said to be grassrootized? Can we say this is deep-rooted? Are the electorate, the voters, are they jumping ship? Are they also defecting alongside the elected governors? We do not know. Now, as to the case of Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan, the senator representing Kogi State Central Senatorial District, our pivot at the moment on going with the caretaker committee that got the appeals court ruling on the need to reset and do things properly within by the remnants of the People's Democratic Party in Nigeria, may be a maverick political stroke on our part. For whatever it's worth, the PDP, we all know, like we said last week, it's an entity that has been in the mud. Now maybe on its way to the countryside graveyard, where it would, its remains will be effectively and decidedly or decisively interred by the appointed undertakers that have acted not just as sole administrators of the party, but as the people that have been troubling that household, that political household, led by Yesun Wike and others. Do not forget, everybody thinks, oh, the umbrella is big. Now, Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan is trying to find a fit wherever it will lead. The people she is kissing up to at this moment, whenever she was traduced, whenever she was vilified in the hallowed chambers of the Senate over serious issues and other allegations that she levied against the leadership of the Senate, these people were not really there to save her neck, or unless we are being told otherwise, unless there is something that is been hidden from us that we are not being told. Probably some of the people she is now willing to work with, the people she is gravitating towards, probably they did something behind the scenes to save her career that we were never privy to. One thing that is sure is that whether somebody is gravitating towards wicked faction of the PDP, we know that that party is not what it used to be anymore. It is badly injured, it is badly wounded. The only illustration, something that is represents a metaphor for that, would be seen in Ernest Hemingway's Old Man and the Sea. This this political party is almost being dragged ashore as a skeleton, as the shadow of his old self, if not completely gone, if not the ghost of his past. The question will now be asked, the APC, that broom, is it sweeping effectively? Is it creating a gale effect that is bringing everybody under its protection? One thing is obvious here. With the protestations, that is now following its congresses, and the allegation that people picked nomination forms to run for various political offices, maybe as vice chairman Southeast or deputy national chairman Southeast, and then they have been struck out, their names have been struck out, not being allowed to feature. And even some people at a village level who had tried to make their impact are being shoved by all kinds of non-entities and weaklings and fickle-minded political operatives. You will understand that the bigger the party is now, the bigger is the headache it has to manage. It is even going beyond headache. These people will give themselves migraine and ultimately knock themselves out. The irony of unchecked, unbridled, runaway authoritarian agenda that wants to foist a one-party agenda on the country. Whether it is Fintiri or it is the sitting governor of Kano State, Akpoti Uduaghan Natasha in PDP, there is something that is fundamentally flawed and wrong about the model of democracy in Nigeria. People can go to the palace of the Windsors and tout the acceptance they have been given and all that. All these things, are they sitting well with the citizens of Nigeria? This political party that is running the show in Nigeria, is it not going to end up really pushing Nigeria towards such a situation in which Nigeria will become a pariah again, that Nigeria will not be seen? And when people become so dictatorial and authoritarian and become a one-party place, there is always somewhere they all belong. Will sanctions not come at some point? Will Nigeria be able to survive it all? I think those who are suggesting and managing this strategy and tactics of swallow up every available and willing opposition governor, I hope they are also paying attention to the ultimate fallout that may come out of that. Thank you very much.
Well, it's going to be a price to pay for it, right? So we'll see how it goes.
Always a price to pay for our choices. Yes.
Wow. All right, ladies and gentlemen, shout out to Marriott. Marriott, I see you. Please hit the like button, share, subscribe.
Thank you, Marriott.
Turn up your notifications so you're notified when we go live. Right now, we're going to move on to talk about Trump, the 48-hour almost ultimatum, and we'll be right back.
Hello, Ola.
Oh, so sorry. You didn't hear me.
Not at all.
All right, we're back now. Ladies and gentlemen, do me a favor. Hit the like button. I was muted. I started already, but it's okay. We're back now. Thank you for saying hello, Ola.
It's all right.
Wow. Anyway, the 48-hour almost ultimatum opened the Strait of Face obliteration. Trump gives Iran a 48-hour deadline as global oil prices hit the ceiling. Wow. So they're saying President Trump has officially brought the world to the brink of a total energy war following a weekend strike on Israel. Trump took to Truth Social to issue a final ultimatum. Iran has 48 hours to fully reopen the Strait of Hormuz to shipping or face the total destruction of its power plants and energy infrastructure. While the president claims he is having productive conversations to avoid the strikes, Iran has fired back, threatening to irreversibly destroy water systems across the Middle East. Meanwhile, back home, ICE agents have been deployed to U.S. airports to assist with security as the war tension causes chaos in travel. Trump is playing the ultimate game of chicken with the world's oil supply. Is this a masterclass in peace through strength, or is the world about to go dark? The sharp edge is yours, Chief.
Thank you. The good news is that the world is not going to go dark from all the indications received as at the time we were coming on air. Today, you find out that Mr. Donald Trump has toned down his rhetoric about maybe the Strait of Hormuz is opened by Iran or there will be total obliteration. He's now making an offer that actually ended up rallying the market earlier today. Number one, he's saying now he's making a proposition that would effectively give patrol of that strait to both Iran and the United States of America. He said he's been talking through some backdoor channel with the administration in Iran, and he's proposing a situation in which whoever emerges the new Ayatollah.
Sorry to interject you, sir. I want to bring you up to speed real quickly. 21 minutes ago, first of all, Marriott says, didn't he claim there was a negotiation? Aaron said it was a lie. We're tired of this man. He doesn't know what he's doing. I took some profits today. He's killing my stocks. Now, here's what I'm just going to give you these three headlines just to make sure we're up to speed, right? Just 23 minutes ago, Al Jazeera says Iran war updates. Tehran denies talks happened after Trump's claims. The New York Times says Trump says U.S. and Iran held very good talks on ending conflict. That was 1 hour ago. But again, 21 minutes ago, Wall Street Journal says Trump and Iran sent conflicting signals on talks. Sounds very confusing to me, sir. Continue, sir.
Everything boils down to what Iran itself even said in the statement that was issued by the head of the lawmaking body there, that Mr. Donald Trump has been using fake news to drive the hedge of the stocks, the major markets. And going by the antecedents of how he handles his deals, he gives everything on the table and then pulls off stunts while you seem not to be watching. It looks to me like a classical way of cheating in the casinos. Now, as to who he's been talking to, he never gave specifics. But one thing we know is that because of this is rigmarole and somersault, the oil sector seemed to have taken a dip. It went down from about $100 per barrel to $88 per barrel at the close of today's event. But it's not going to immediately translate to whatever anybody is envisaging, is thinking of at this moment, because if it's, if gradually we were able to inch towards maybe about 4, depending on where you are in the United States, but let's just put it at average of $4 per gallon. Don't think that because this thing went down by almost $10 today, that it's going to immediately reflect on the pump prices. It will take a while. The one that is such a sorry situation for all of us is for the leader of the free world to speak, and then the world really want to begin to well, could that be true? Which is the same thing that our good friend there is talking about. Nobody trusts him anymore, and it's really affecting so many things. He says one thing, and people really or if he says good morning, you're checking your wrist timer if it's not evening already. So who would believe all this? But one thing that this has really shown is the fact that people should learn to temper might with soft disposition. You don't say that, oh, because you are a giant, you are really big, you can march mercilessly on the tiny ant there. That ant, if it succeeds at creeping up your hidden places, could actually make you go naked, which is what Iran has done to the touted might of Mr. Donald Trump. Because this is not about the generality. This is not a reflection of who we are as Americans. The personality of Mr. Donald J. Trump does not define all of us. It's something that has really put the entire world in a quandary, a kind of a quagmire in the last 3 weeks. And we're still going forward wherever the whole thing leads. But whoever has been talking to is never specific about who he has been talking to there. Whoever has been his emissary, maybe is his son-in-law, and that kind of closet diplomacy that is unprecedented, that is strange to the entire world. The agenda of a family cannot be the whims and caprice for guiding an entire enlightened nation like the United States of America. So, like we said then, all this is all about diversion. People are hurting, not just as families. People are being torn apart, being divided because of questionable immigration ideology. But you also see that all this stuff at diverting attention from the heart of what really should concern all of us in the United States, consolidating and firming up our democracy. That is not being done. Just when you think we are at the end of a trick, another one is pulled out of the bag. Just when you think everything is calming down, something else is happening. For example, already he's been telling Republicans not to have any deal, in spite of the fact that TSA officials are resigning by the droves. Thank God, maybe as at the time we were coming on here today, the calling from a TSA officials is about 10%, but last week it went up as almost maybe 40%. When this happened about a year ago, or not a year ago, earlier in the year, you find out that about 1,100 TSA officials decided to just drop the ball. They decided to walk off the job because they were finding it difficult each time there is this kind of government shutdown, that they are not able to pay their bills. Groceries suffer at home. Their parental essence and relevance get questioned each time. So now they can't take it anymore. Now, which is why Mr. Donald Trump is complimenting the efforts of TSA with the draft of ICE officials, that immigration officials should come and complement the processing. But if they are there, would they also be able to handle all the technological details of keeping us all safe at check-in points, at the airport? That is not settled yet. He is muting the idea of also bringing in the National Guard to complement whatever the ICE officials are doing at the airport. It's never been this tensed up with us in the United States of America. But our worst winter will soon be over. And symbolically, we're stepping into a new season. Spring is almost here. And we think it will be a spring of new vistas of opportunities and living standards and expectations for us all across the United States. Now, he is breathing down the neck of the caucus of Republicans in the Congress now. Do not cut any deal with the Democrats if the issue of voters' ID or identification is not going to be determined, and then the mail-in ballots. The argument earlier today at the Supreme Court is touching on the fundamentals of if things will be consolidated in the light of the efforts of our forebears in this country, or everything now will be thrown under the under an 18-wheeler to be completely destroyed. Like we have seen over time, the Supreme Court has always been an enabler for some awry agenda, or some agenda that have gone awry in this country. Is that what they will do with all these issues going on? People are saying, oh, let us talk about the government shutdown that is affecting critical facets of American public life. Somebody is saying, oh, hold on to the end of the stick unless they are willing to shift concerning IDs, proof of citizenship, and every other thing that is bordering on what I would call another diversionary tactics in the US. Now, oh, don't give in. So people will continue to suffer. The queues will be long, and then the world, even when we say, oh, our president, or when our president says, we are jointly going to patrol the Strait of Hormuz, they will continue to doubt us. I think there must be that radical and critical reset that could make the world trust the United States. But concerning major reports all over the world that this man has really behaved in a disorderly fashion that has now affected the way the world sees America. I think, yes, majority of people in the world may be right. And internally here, we have to be on guard so that we are not stripped of our liberty, we are not stripped of the freedom that we have always taken for granted. Because we took things for granted, that is where we are. We are. That is why we are where we are. It therefore means that resistance must continue. People must continue to dig in and mobilize and see that ultimately the choice will be that of the voters to put people on check. The legislature has been a huge letdown. The courts tried their best, but the Supreme Court ultimately has always given Donald Trump whatever he wants. The people must now decide, what do we really want? That is where we are headed. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. All right, do me a favor. Shout out to, I see a Yamaha caller says Trump is TSGD. I don't know what you're talking about, but
let him decode it for us. I don't know what that means.
No, I'm the one actually coding it. I'm the one coding it. It's called, it said Trump is a trans. So we're gonna leave that alone. We don't know.
Yeah, we don't have any opinion about that. Just but this is a community. Feel free. Let us have what you feel.
I know, right?
Of your views. Thank you very much.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, hit the like button, share, subscribe, turn up your notifications so you're notified when we go live. Right now, we're going to talk about the Kwara IED tragedy and the new frontier. We'll be right back. All right. Let's see. All right, what do we have here? We have the Kwara. This Kwara story is scary. I mean, what is happening in Kwara recently has been quite scary. Explosions in Kwara, blood in Kayama. Is the North Central becoming the new front line for the insurgency? While the political class celebrates defections in Yola, a tragedy is unfolding in Kwara State. Police confirmed this morning that a powerful IED explosion ripped through a commercial vehicle near Woro in the Kayama district, claiming at least one life and leaving many injured. This follows a horrific massacre of 160 people in the same region last month. If you remember, Security experts are warning that Kwara is becoming a new frontier for Islamist groups, pushing southward, overrunning military camps, and targeting civilian infrastructures. The president just returned from the UK with promises of security cooperation, but the bombs are still going off in the heart of the country. Are we winning the war on terror, or is the enemy simply moving closer to the gate of the south? Let's have your sharp edge, sir. Let's see what you have to say about this.
Oh, so sad. But the reality is that while people are drawing attention to about 160 people killed in the same area a few weeks back, have we suddenly forgotten, or are we so numbed, or we think it's the normalization of the abnormal by simply choosing to forget that only this last week during the Ramadan period, these individuals, these elements who have chosen to continue to foist terror on Nigerians and Nigeria as a country, how they struck in multiple places in Maduguri only last week. And the indication, the lesson taken away from that, particularly with the heroic response of the Nigerian military that was able to let us borrow, at least for once, in a positive way, the words of Donald Trump, that the Nigerian gallant troops that were able to obliterate or annihilate, like they say in Nigeria, about 80 insurgents this past week. So if anybody is thinking, oh, this is approaching the frontiers or the gates of the South and what have you, I think it is a way of underplaying the seriousness of the fact that this is something that has engulfed the whole Nigeria landscape, and that is a tragedy. President Tinubu, while people were still picking bones and mangled flesh of compatriots in Maduguri, instead of doing the nation or doing the slain citizens the honor of being properly mourned, decided to go kiss up to the Royal Majesty's ring in Windsor Castle in London, and the rest of us, or let's say we don't live in Nigeria, but the rest of our compatriots back at home were left to do the mourning, to also do the all commiserations that the occasion called for. So if an IED, improvised explosive device, has gone off a public facility, a public or commuter vehicle now, one killed and several injured, it's simply what has now become the reality of Nigeria, and which continues to expose the weak fundamentals of the security architecture of Nigeria as a country. People don't like anybody to ask the National Security Advisor and then the hierarchy of a Nigerian Security Command, the military, the police, the secret services, and what have you, the intelligence community. Nobody wants them to be taxed. Nobody wants them to be asked questions. They think it's all politics. But honestly put, when things like this happen, does it not also does it not call for anybody to really be serious and say that, oh, what kind of political leader am I if my citizens get slaughtered? Just, worse than chicken. Chicken would even be killed on industrial scale every day. This is what Nigerians now come to be the reality of living within that geographical expression called Nigeria. because I don't want to see it as a kind of a failed enclave. But it's almost going towards that. But what we see all the time, instead of really minding the business of keeping lives and property secured, as sequent to any other constitutional obligation, duty, responsibilities, would be just that basic. But hey, it's almost a situation in which narrow fiddles, while Rome burns. People are so eager to discuss politics and make it look as if life doesn't worth much in Nigeria. So in Warsaw the other day, it happened. It's still happening. So how is it that the security dragnet is not in place to make sure that that state, that space is almost impregnable by any of these evil-minded elements? They see themselves as faithful. I see them as idiots, bigots, who want to die for things that are not even original to the person and essence of the average African. This ideology that they are dying for what they don't even really have the proof that this is real. People that cannot imagine beyond ordinary, they are given a dose of, or a sacrament of certainty, and then by that they are willing to waste lives. These things get me confounded most times. But you know, I am a liberated soul. Would I want to lay my life down for some tales told through the prism of Arab night storytellers or something, or the fantasies of some Western religious elements? Certainly not. I would rather struggle to understand my own soul, who I am, and then my purpose, instead of just wasting people. So what Nigeria must do, if the killings, whether in Kwara, Kogi, Ondo State, because Kwara is just representational, a micro representation of what is going on all over Nigeria. Whether it's in whether it's in Maiduguri or Zamfara, all over Nigeria, we play too much politics. We think of stomach infrastructure instead of first struggling to be alive. Struggling to be alive, keeping everybody secured. We are not doing that. And when we even say that, we just try to poke fun at the memory of those that have been lost, sadly. We just try to mock the tragedy of suffering. Majority of Nigerians that are going through untold sufferings at the moment. So the killing in Waro, I think, is again a wake-up call, not just for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, also for the man who went on the global stage to run his mouth. Oh, it's either they are doing this or we will annihilate them. Now, we are not seeing the effect of that annihilation. However, for the much that the troops have done so far, I love to celebrate the troops. For the much that they have done, for their sacrifices, we applaud them. For the people that have come from the United States, about 200 of them now are assisting to deploy technology, drones, what have you, to put this killer squad called terrorists, bandits, kidnappers, and violent criminals to put them in check. We also celebrate them, but definitely much still has to be done. And it is not too late to get on the drawing table, make sure that whatever this calls for, whatever attention we all need to give to make sure that Nigeria becomes safer, that space becomes more governable, should be done. all the huge billions going into servicing political dreams, not even knowing when that tomorrow comes, if anybody will be safe enough to run the show in Nigeria anymore. Such money should be put to good use, making sure that necessary equipment, necessary remuneration have made available, not just to the troops, but also make sure that they are well funded, and then run out the what do you call them? The crisis merchants all over Nigeria. We must do something to run them out of business. Otherwise, this cycle will continue endlessly. How do we justify? Does it make anybody happy to hear that Nigeria is ranked among the first 5 worst places in terms of terrorism in the world? Certainly, that is not where we want to be. We should look at, countries that were ranked alongside Nigeria way back in the 60s, where they are today. Certainly not in the committee of terror-ridden countries. And we must aspire to go for something better than having our citizens killed, running ineffective security system. There must be something that says, oh, Nigeria is the hope of the black world. But the way we are going, democracy is flagging and failing in Nigeria. Are we also going to fail in terms of keeping the country alive as an entity, making sure the nation survives? Not just food for thought for me or you, Ola, just all of us, Nigerians at home and in the diaspora. Let us think deeply about this. There must be open-mindedness on the part of the government, instead of just deceiving with endless tricks and games all the time. There must be that openness. They must be receptive to what the generality of Nigerians are willing to offer, to put on the table. And this is how we must proceed, making sure that we put the violent criminals to shame. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, and now we move into the last segment of the show. We've had the hard news, so we're going to take it down a little bit. Now, let's get a sharper edge on the conversations. I wanted to bring you up to speed on some of the stuff that's trending, and then you might had your other stuff. Sheyi Makinde, yes, is trending. Governor Sheyi Makinde has renamed the 8.3 kilometer Akobo Olorunda Aba Road. Archbishop Akubo, okay. Archbishop Ayo Ladigbolu Road from its initial name, Iyesom Wike.
That's a good one. I would not.
Okay.
The only reason why I'm applauding that, only yesterday, I was searching for the of course, you should know the place of Archbishop Ayo Ladigbolu in the ecumenical order in Nigeria. Not just the ecumenical order. He also is an authentic Nigerian patriot, a prince of Oyo Kingdom. Of course, you have heard of the late Oba Ladigbolu the first, that was described as Oban Latin Fobaje, a big king that used to crown smaller kings. And that's one poem we read by the late Yoruba, the Yoruba author, writer, and philosopher, J.F. Odunjo. This is a descendant of Oyo royalty. But I was searching for his exploits as an Ewi, Yoruba traditional poet. Only yesterday. I didn't even know that this had happened anywhere. And I was looking for that piece of Ewi that he recorded way back then. And I used to like that thing because I think
Ewi is what's English of Ewi? Poem, right?
Poem.
Okay.
Yeah, poem. So, in those days, I think he was the bishop of the Methodist Diocese of Ifaki Ekiti. Way back then. But this Ewi came and it was singing about ẹnikẹ́ni tí wọ́n bá nípa láti ṣe ìrànwọ́ fún o òun náà lẹ́nìkejì rẹ̀ rántí rẹ̀ a ó máa ṣàánú o a ó máa ṣàánú ara wa àánú lolúfẹ́ a ó máa ṣàánú ara wa. So I was searching for it on the internet. I couldn't get it yesterday, and I was wondering, and then I saw some stuff, but the downside of this will be the fact that is this done in order to spite Yesu Wike?
Well, Yesu Wike said, okay, through his I don't know.
For what he represents today in the politics of Nigeria, here we have said he occupies an unenviable place in trying to destroy democracy in Nigeria and make Nigeria a one-party affair, a dictatorship, and that is not a good place to be. He has a family. I wonder how many people today in Germany would say that they love to be identified with the vision, the dark philosophy and ideology of Adolf Hitler or Joseph Goebbels. So when the future comes and people are recording the developing history of Nigeria, even as we progress, even as we advance, would anybody love to be identified with Yesu Wike in the future? It looks like, it is cool now. We're in war. In the marketplace, it is always an inviting.
It's entertaining to watch lunatics.
Yes, to watch the loony. But would anybody want to have such a character as a child? Certainly.
Let me give you three other.
So like Bishop Ladibolu.
Fire rounds, sir. Yes. Fire rounds, sir. Some other trendy stories. So Showore, they said Showore in his heyday. This is what he said. Showore made a comment. Said in his heyday as Nigerian Minister in Justice. He put injustice.
Minister of Injustice, yes.
He said Minister of he put in the parentheses. He said Minister of Injustice and Attorney General Abubakar Malami SAN violated virtually every court order that did not align with the interest of the Muhammadu Buhari regime. Today he finds himself confronted by the very culture of impunity helped to nurture. What happened? Is he in the news for anything? This guy?
Yes, of course. You know that he's been held with his son, I think at the Kuje prison or correctional facility in Abuja, and he's been accused of being behind so many incongruous and very shameful, unconstitutional conduct while in power, and then the element of corruption, multi-billion naira fraud, and all that. Of course, if somebody calls him Minister of Injustice and Attorney General,
Attorney General, okay.
Yes, that expression is not originally mine. You give it to this guy in Scotland. That Mayegun Diary Political.
Okay.
So, if you have all these elements there,
real quick, sir. Sir, fire round. So somebody has something interesting to say about Showore. Mr. Moyele Showore, I've watched you criticize every politician we have. Okay, let's just listen to it. Let's see if you can hear. Can you hear it?
Yes, I saw the clip.
Okay, let's listen to it.
Criticizing Mr. Alex Oti. At this point, I am confused. As far as I know, I have watched you criticize every politician in this country, Nigeria. So I have this simple question to ask you today. Mr. Omoyele Showore, please tell Nigerians and every part of the world about 5 credible politicians that we can work with in this country. 5 credible politicians that
Is that a trick question?
With their move around you, we can have a good direction and we can have a better country. I am confused because at this point now, you are the only credible, reliable, and the most cleanest politician we have in Nigeria. It cannot be only you. I am challenging you. Please name 5 credible politicians that we, don't know, that are credible, that you know them because you know everybody, that we can follow and support, that okay, these people
So
credible country. Because like this now, me I don't dey confused.
that's what somebody that doesn't believe in Showore would say. But go ahead, say what you want to say.
I do not think that the bloke that has this question does not really believe in Showore. He's only to put it mildly, asking for who to believe. Okay, you Showore, you may not be the most sanctimonious of Nigerians. And of course, you know, Showore is not the average Nigerian politician that anybody may be thinking of. Is coming from a different consciousness altogether. I mean, he came not just as a disruptor within the media industry, because even as a professional journalist, some of us were already getting tired of the complacency and lethargic attitude of many of us. And of course, you have heard me criticize protocol journalism. People come before Yes Weekend, they set him up as if he is this local bail. You know, that biblical kind of God served in Sidon, Tyre, and what do you call it? This other place, Mesopotamia, and the Babylon of old. You know, so partial of old, and so instead of asking pointed questions, probing questions, questions on accountability and transparency, people just go before him, they kiss up to him as the imperial FCT minister. And he entertains with all kinds of lies. So if Showore criticizes people like that, I do not think it's wrong. And so let this guy continue to look and look until I hope it doesn't become a kind of look man.
Okay.
I mean, it should not look endlessly until he finds that role model that he thinks. For me, I think the most essential thing is politicians who would operate in truth, utter righteousness. Look at what lack of righteousness has done to Nigeria. Nobody believes us anymore. Look at the young guy all over the place. Do you think it suddenly happened? It didn't happen by accident. This thing was seen long before our time, when Awolowo was talking of the ship of state approaching a major, what's it called, a iceberg like the Titanic, that it should not sink. But deeper and deeper, we have always approached the abyss. So Showore has no fault in not trusting anybody. And in life, if you are not cynical, if you are not skeptical, you are a toast.
All right, I've got about 2 more trending news for you to cover in about 2 minutes.
Thank you.
So we have this news on the NURTW chairman, the new chairman Barua versus MC Oluomo, who is trendy. So let's listen to this video.
We are here today. Yes. We can see that we don't hold anything like cutlass. Yes. John, we don't need this. Yes. Because we are critical trade unionists. Yes. We are coming here to resume to the office. Yes. It's almost 2 years. We have been went to the court. We take them to appeal court. We take them to the lower court. We won them in lower court. They take us to appeal court. We won them again. Then we now go after almost a year that we want to appeal court. They don't respect the law. They say that they are above the law. I wish I know nobody above the law. Then we now went back again to the another court again to interpretation of this judgment for us. That's because we got judgment. People are adamant to vacate the office, and we don't want to take law by hand.
Okay, listen to this, sir. Listen to this one real quick.
Yes.
All what has happened to you may happen to any one of us here. What we have come to realize is that there is a deliberate and calculated attempt to force a one-party rule.
All right, so to finish your thoughts, sir, is there a correlation between these two completely different news by any chance? MC Oluomo. And then we have the what's his name, Waziri of Adamawa, right? Atiku. accusing the ruling party of trying to set up a one-party state, essentially.
Well, the two may appear mutually exclusive. That is, they may not really relate, but then they address the same thing: the soul of a failing nation. How can duly constituted law courts give a ruling and then people are not willing to respect that? That is, I mean, it will continue to go that way because that's where we find ourselves. They are saying, oh, they are not holding cutlass, no gun, whatever. Well, that is what has been disclosed in public. But the tyranny, I wrote years back, I think it was 1999 that I wrote in the Hope newspaper concerning the tyranny of road transport workers. Let us leave it at that. That is a trade union organization that has always, operated like a parallel government in Nigeria. They take money from members of the public. You pay insurance, what's it called, premium, when you want to leave a motor parks. If anything happens, nobody contacts the victim's family. And if they have dealt them so much raw stuff on Nigerians, now that they are chewing themselves out, they are always there to be hired by whoever is in government as non-state actors to perpetuate violence. So if they are unleashing it on themselves, let them sort themselves out. The National Union of Road Transport Workers, those people, they are a separate a separate headache in Nigeria, a precursor to the pervasive Boko Haram, whatever you have today. I can say that boldly. You know how many people they have harassed the public in Nigeria and with attitude of impunity. So if they are now doing things to inform themselves, too bad. But I think they need to be put back in line. If they are willing to operate with the rest of us as people that are governable, they are welcome. Now to the issue of the agenda of a one-party state. You know, we have spoken greatly, immensely about that. It is so obvious. Yes. The signals are everywhere. You start ABC, opposition will rise to tackle you. You start even in almost Yele's own political party.
Yes, so they almost took over.
Deliberately they sponsor them to go there. You start before Governor Adeleke went to Accord Party in Osun State, that party had no activity. The moment he went there, they got an effective opposition to tackle him.
Yeah.
NNPP, the same thing happened to Kwakwanso and the governor that eventually caved in, that has now become in Kano State. Well, so they are smooth criminals, smooth operators. Wherever you want to go, you see them there. But that is that about the shenanigans of getting Nigeria going. Finally, this issue of wherever you find people of certain ethnic coloration or identity, they want to have their Igwe or Kabiyesi or Sariki, whatever, in Ibadan. Suddenly you will have a Sariki Shasha who would be carrying himself with the protocol of fully constituted royalty. In Akure at the time, there was an Igbo chieftain who came wearing beaded crown until that was removed, and he was told there cannot be two sovereigns in Akure Kingdom, and he was strictly caged to respect what's it called? To respect the tradition and royalty of that community. And in Abuja, there have been times the former President Olusegun Obasanjo had to lambast and tongue lash some individuals calling themselves Kabiyesi. He asked that individual that called himself the Oba Yoruba of Abuja, said, back home in Yoruba land, has anybody in your family ever been a king? Are you from a royal lineage? And then, because they were thinking, they were going to do that kind of ethnic you are the solidarity that
right.
will be welcoming to them.
Will be welcoming.
But
I mean, they do that. To be fair, they do that here. They have an Oyo little town in South Carolina where they actually go and they install some Yalude of New Jersey, and they have a couple of chieftaincy roles like that. Even here in New Jersey, they have Yalude. They have things like that.
Now the one we are focusing.
So question: Would Abuja be considered diaspora for that same purpose?
You see, people do all sorts of things instead of just organizing their towns forum, cultural events, and what have you. They just want to create a semblance of what is not. I mean, everybody is having this idea of we live in Babylon. There must be preservation of identity. Good, but you don't go and spy people right in their own country. Like this ongoing thing in South Africa now, where somebody wanted to be crowned Igwe in South Africa. South Africans are kicking. So why is it that wherever we go, we cannot just roll by? I mean, already there are anachronistic stuff about Nigeria. You say Federal Republic of Nigeria, but you have kings. I'm a traditional chief, no doubt, but it doesn't go beyond my involvement in tradition or love for my community. Does not go beyond leadership essence. If it's about using it to do the Ozoro,
festival,
the Ozoro festival nonsense, where you violate women, count me out. In most African palaces, in most traditional palaces, when women come to ask for protection, maybe in terms of mediation, arbitration, or reconciliation, they will be made to go on their knees. A torturous process. But when men come, they have to stand up or sit down. What's the original crime of that woman? It is in the same place you have so-called pastors, all fake, inglorious bastards, going everywhere, identify witches and wizards. They never label anybody a witch or a wizard until that person is in penury or destitution. They know how to rub it on the poverty of our people. If you are a son of a rich person or the mother of a billionaire, would anybody dare to identify you as a witch? You see that? So now in South Africa, this person wants to be crowned an Igwe, and they are saying that in itself is not welcome. It's not normal. Can we give peace a chance? Before this happened, there have been xenophobic attacks all over South Africa, and some outrightly fatal. I think we need to respect the laws of wherever we are, while still keeping our identity and not forgetting who we are. In Nigeria, you have Federal Republic, a republic. You run a Republican constitution, but you have all kinds of monarchs, what have you, here and there. I think the talk of state police, what's it called? All kinds of stuff that we understand we should do about restructuring and all that. The question of the relevance of traditional rulers, institutions, should also be on the agenda. Let us talk about it. Otherwise, what is the pay given to traditional rulers, chiefs, who spend all their time, their eternity, in palaces, adjudicating, doing all sorts of things? They are not appreciated, they are not well remunerated, but politicians, some of whom do not even have qualifications that the monarchs carry. They say whether school cert pass or fail, or school living certificate, whatever. I don't know. There is no serious qualification for becoming a politician in Nigeria. Yet you give them Among Us pay, packages, nothing for traditional institutions. Food for thought. But wherever you go, don't go there poking your finger in the face of your host. Be good, live as good guests wherever you find yourself. Live as good guests wherever you find yourself. And the host countries too should play the role of responsible and good hosts. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, again, shout out to Marriott in the chat. She's been engaging us. Ladies and gentlemen, hit the like button.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Help us share the platform. Share. As usual, we'll be back here in due time.
And at some point, Ola, we may decide to just put the show on hold until we hit that 1,000 threshold. You know.
Okay. I mean,
yes, let's do something about that.
Yeah, we're about 8 subscribers away from 500 subscribers. So, yeah, I mean, help us push, hit like, share, subscribe. Just take, any chance you get.
The good thing about it is that so far it's been organic. And
yes.
Yeah. Let's continue to give it a push.
Yes. So what we are seeing, just to because we're 8 minutes over time, but let me just share this real quick. What we're seeing is that a lot of people are watching and they're not subscribing. So if you're one of those people, you're watching, I mean, we're looking about 90% of you are watching, but you're not subscribing. So make sure you are subscribed. Yeah, about 90%. So about 10% of people are watching, about 90%. In the last 28 days, a lot of people are stopping by. I mean, in the last 28 days, we've had about 8,000 views on this platform. So, so can you please just do us a favor, subscribe?
So about having those 8,000 viewers, I mean, coming full blast as subscribers. Let us make it a one.
Yes. Amongst the 8,000 viewers or views, I should call it, we've had 14 people subscribe. So think about that.
Thank you so much.
So
we can do better.
We can do
need
better.
All the 8,000 viewers to come in as subscribers.
Yeah. So right now we're at 492. So help us. Now we are on Facebook as well. So you can find Sharp Edge News TV on Facebook as well. So I don't have that number right now though. All right, ladies and gentlemen, hit the like button, share, subscribe, turn up your notifications so you're notified when we go live. See you on the next one. Take care. God bless.